Jake Etheridge. He had a career, you know, it was decent, it was fine, admirable. He had some cuts on the TV show Nashville. He toured Europe as a member of the Dutch band The Common Linnets. He even acted here and there. You know, he was more of a behind-the-scenes guy, an indie guy, respected, steadily working, consummate collaborator. And then came Happy Ever After You. It was that song, written on a whim one night with his wife, Mackenzie Porter, that suddenly blew everything wide open. We're talking 1 million views overnight. We're talking a record deal a week later. Love from John Mayer Brandi Carlile. It was the sudden and meteoric ascent of Thelma and James. In today's episode, Jake unpacks the making of that song from scribbled lyrics at the kitchen table, hearing the first 5 million pop up, and he reveals how it reshaped his path as a Nashville indie artist. We hit the studio moments, the fan reactions, and what it really means to have your career rebooted in viral time. He also plays a song live here in the studio that he wrote with Donovan Woods. We're coming on our 70th episode, if you can believe it, and I have such a respect and admiration for this music and the artists who make it, and I'm excited to share this interview with Jake Etheridge.
There has got to be more than this.
Jake Etheridge, my man, thank you so much for making some time to come and talk to us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, brother.
I'm excited to do this. I've been excited ever since we sort of pinned it down a couple weeks ago. And people don't know this about us, but we've known each other for, kind of a long time.
A while now.
And maybe not quite 10 years, but maybe 10 years. Maybe 10 years.
Maybe.
And I think we have a friend in common, actual former Morse Code alum, Tim Lauer, on the music side. But we also were actors together at a studio here in town.
Yes.
And this is great because I want to talk to you about both of those things and more. Because it's something that I'm really interested in are people that are kind of just generally creative or interested in creative expression in across domains, if you will. And you definitely tick that box. But first, I just want to point out to everybody, if they haven't heard of Thelma and James, they need to check you guys out because you're having quite a ride right now.
We're having fun.
You're having fun. And I feel like it's brand new in the sense of like February.
Yeah, we put out a video for Happy Ever After You at the end of December, but it didn't release, I think, until January. So yeah, somewhere around there.
Let's just jump right in there.
Sure.
Because that's what we're all really excited about. And in terms of the journey of Happy Ever After You, I want to know a little bit about the backstory and how it came to be and who came up with the title and some of the stuff we talked about off mic. But as far as like the release went, you guys put it out on the socials first and it wasn't even available on Spotify.
Yeah. No. So Mackenzie, my wife, we met songwriting, but then we hadn't written together in like 10 years. And then so the Happy Ever After You title, we had been kicking around the house for a while. Like some morning she'd be leaving for a co-write and then she'd say, hey, you got any tags I can steal? And that was kind of a thing we would say to each other. And so Happy Ever After You had been kicking around. I think she had tried to write it several times and nobody really wanted to write it. And then one night in December, it was just kind of the end of the year blues. Just like she came to the room and we had just put Bowen down to bed and she asked me, did I want to write? And I was working on a song for TV film actually. And I told her no. And it's kind of funny looking back. But we wound up writing and we just wrote it in half an hour. We just wrote the first verse and the chorus. And we didn't really think too much about it. I think that was the main thing. Like as songwriters, like I overthink so much.
Sure. And
we didn't overthink because it didn't really have a purpose. It was just writing to write. And then we shot a video and then people liked it, I guess.
So so just to tease that apart a little bit, you wrote the song, you made a recording, a fine shareable recording at home.
Sure. Yeah. At home. Yeah.
And then like a couple days later, shot like a little avert iPhone video.
Well, it was funny. We were talking about cameras. I was borrowing a camera from a buddy of mine, and so we had been using iPhone. But for this particular video, what makes it even more like homespun is I didn't have a camera stand yet, so I had this new camera. I barely had us in focus, and I had it propped up literally on a pair. It was a t-shirt and a pair of underwear. On a drum throne.
You paint quite a picture, my man.
Yeah, like that was the video. It's like if you could see in the back, it was literally underwear. I think they had been worn once. We don't know. But yeah, it was just at home, and we just put it on the TikTok
just to have something to have.
Just because I think we were both in a place where it was like, I think we were just putting something out.
Yeah,
just like anybody.
So were you surprised by the response?
Yeah.
Was it like a one day thing?
Yeah. Well, it was the next morning, I think, because we put it out and there wasn't like anything crazy. It was like, oh, it's doing pretty cool. And I think the next morning we woke up really early and saw like, whoa, it's kind of climbing. And then it was just kind of by the hour. And then literally, I think by 11 a.m. we were on the phone with the label. And then the next day,
Mackenzie's label, or are you on the same label, or?
Yeah, we are. So we're Big Loud. So we were. I think it was like 10:30 in the morning. We were on the phone with Big Loud, and then the next day we were in the studio tracking it. It was like
whirlwind.
It was
modern
turnaround.
whirlwind.
Yeah.
Where's it at right now on like TikTok? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Millions though.
Yeah. If I had to guess, I'd say, I don't know. I'd be.
That's fine.
I don't know.
I'm not going to hold you to any.
Yeah. I don't
numbers.
know.
But I am going to ask you, like, was that kind of your first experience with like a viral piece of content?
Definitely. Yeah, man. Max had some really cool stuff happen. Max had some viral stuff. I haven't. Not like that.
While you're, I'm just going to look this up right now because I kind of just want to know where we're at. People, I feel like most people that on your side are going to know you and going to be familiar with that song. And but there's some people living under rocks who may not have heard.
Come on, rock people.
Come on, rock. Come on out of there, people. Wait, is it under? Is it under?
Happy Ever After You is under all three of us because it was the first one. It's Thelma and James, Jake Etheridge, and Mackenzie Porter.
So I'm just gonna look up. Oh, I'm misspelling Mac's name. What a jack tool. But how do I spell it?
Mackenzie Porter.
Oh, Zie.
It's a hard song to find.
That's crazy. Oh, it's like I'm searching my own channel. Apparently, Mackenzie Porter doesn't follow me. So it's kind of an awkward moment on the podcast.
I'll get on to her about it.
Mention that to her, please. Okay. Yeah, so all of these. Oh, so yeah, like you do in the TikTok. I guess I have no idea because I don't know how to operate TikTok.
Are you talking to? Yeah.
So I don't know where to go. How to go to the exact music file and see the plays that are associated with that particular piece of music.
Yeah, I wish I was better. I wish I was better.
Yeah, we're both the blind leading the deaf.
Like, I don't know. We put a video. People watched it.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, you're holding tight there on 2.9 million. It's great. It's great. Okay.
On TikTok?
Yeah, for just one of those videos.
Oh, cool.
Great, And okay, so there's so many things I'm curious about. Please. And one of them is you answered already, which is like this first time viral. But you've been doing this for
long time.
10, 15 years making music.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been in town almost 15 or at least 14 years in Nashville. And of course, everybody does music in their hometown first. Yeah, I came to town, was doing the country music thing, and then
you were. I had no idea because your music was just great. And your voice, I think of as more the Donovan Woods category.
Well, thank you. So I wasn't, as an artist, I didn't do quote country, but I was writing the country, and I feel like a lot of people do that when they come to town. And luckily, I had a really good friend, Rob Crosby, who's been in town a long time. written a lot of really great songs, and he kind of invited me to write with him, and that was a real opportunity for me. And he's also from South Carolina, and then long story short, through Rob, me and Rob's son Matthew Crosby all got a part of this Dutch band. So I was overseas with that band for years, 5-6 years. And that was, we had like a really good time over there. So as far as like viral moments, like that band did pretty well. But most of that material we didn't even release in the States.
Was it a country yet? Ish?
Yeah. It was definitely country adjacent. Like I think in Europe, it was considered country. But here it wouldn't be considered country. Here it would be like maybe alt Americana country. But yeah, so over there it was kind of a thing.
And forgive me for not remembering because I can't remember anything anymore. But I bet that's how you met that artist overseas.
Ilse DeLong.
Yes, Ilse.
Yeah, because Ilse's in the Common Linets.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to dive into that too long because
that's totally fine. But she's a superstar over there.
Yeah, she's like wildly
Household
famous.
Yeah.
And she was starting that project. We were just writing for the project, and then somehow we snuck in to be in that project with her. Yeah.
She just turned around. It was too late. Y'all were there.
We were there. Well, I just remember I was waiting tables at Carrabba's in Green Hills, and it was 2 a.m. She called me from Holland and said, "Hey, can you be over here in a week to do some German TV shows with me?" And the song was kind of blowing up, and I was like, "Sure," So yeah, that was kind of a viral thing overseas.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because that didn't happen in a phone.
No, yeah.
So
that's
no one really
exactly,
cares.
Exactly.
That was mere real life.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Well, on that note of just like having kind of something, I mean, viral or not, it was like a life change, career change, like in a second, like a phone call. Like that's like the fabled way things happen or used to happen.
Sure.
So that's cool that there's a taste. I had a similar, albeit on a smaller scale, where I was, I moved here. I had a career in Seattle before I moved here and made 7 records or so. And at that point, like toured Europe and had a thing. And then I was like, I'm going to come to the big town and see what happens. And nothing happened, in short. And actually, like the first week I was here, I won the song contest at pretty prestigious at Merlefest. They used to have a song contest there that like I think Gil won it once. Patty Griffin was an early winner. Anyway,
that's pretty
there was
killer.
my name. Yeah, like I was like, all right, cool. This is like literally 2 weeks of living here. I'd entered it before I moved, but and then right after that, I got signed to this little indie label, and then like I'm like, geez, what took me so long? I had the complete opposite Nashville experience, or so I thought. Cut to like 6 months later, and like it's all gone away. Like the label's imploded. There's nothing happening. I have no employable skills. I'm 2,000 miles away from my fan base and everything that I had built up.
Yeah.
And like no one gave a rat's ass about Korby Lenker. And long story short, it was like the best thing that ever could have happened to me. I ended up like having to park cars for a living, and it was just like pretty humble pie, but very good for me. And the point is that I was with an ex-girlfriend at Imogene and Willie used to have these outdoor like just shenanigans.
I
didn't call them
remember
that, but out behind the 12 South location, and I went to go see somebody play, and this girl who knew a girl, the girl I was with, we started talking, and she was an artist, and she was like heading out on tour, and she needed a guitar player, and bless her heart for hiring me. But it was like I was like parking cars at the Sheridan downtown.
Yeah, I was thinking for some reason
one of those hotels,
Midtown. I was like, I could see you in Midtown outside of Chewie's.
Oh no,
That's
dude.
What I was thinking.
I mean, come on. I'm push back a little bit. I was at the Hermitage Hotel. Okay. It was like a nice experience, and I was like the worst valet there. In fact, my last day at that hotel was ended in a car crash. But I made it 3 years.
Flames,
no crashes.
Going out in flames.
I mean, your number's gonna come up eventually. Okay, you're just like moving cars in tight spaces all day long. The DoubleTree is where I was. I got the call, and anyway, enabled me. I suddenly was like out on the road and that was it. That was like kind of the last straight job.
Really?
I had. Yeah, and I just kind of that was just enough to kind of get things back online for me, where I had this sort of stable gig, and then I was able. met Tim, and we spent a year working on a record together.
How'd you meet Tim?
I met Tim with Tim Lauer.
Yes, Tim Lauer.
I'm going to turn to the audience here for folks who don't know. Tim Lauer is a really talented producer here in Nashville and a A-list keyboard player.
And just an amazing dude.
Amazing dude.
Him, yeah.
Amazing dude, outside the box thinker, which is the thing that I loved about him. I'll tell you the story about Tim is that there was an artist named Mickey Echo who, that Tim worked with at a time. And I saw him at the Mercy Lounge, which was used to be, now it's called Cannery Row, that whole area. It was called Cannery Row then, but there were 3 clubs in that building, and Mercy Lounge was the one that everybody went to all the time. And I saw Mickey Echo play, and I was like, damn, this guy is like great singer, great presence on stage. And he was selling like little EP CDs at the back like everybody did. And so I went back and bought the CD, and it had, the guy said it was produced by Tim Lauer, which was just a name on a record at that time for me. Went home and listened to it, and I'm just like, are you kidding? This was made in Nashville? Because it just sounded like utterly modern and just different and absolutely not Nashville. I was sure it was like an LA record or something. And come to find out, I like Googled him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's like a studio musician in town. Yeah. And so cut to a little bit later, I got, like, as we do, just hustling gigs. This young country artist had a little bit of a budget and hired me to produce his record. Again, bless his heart. No, I was, whatever. He hired me because I knew a few people.
Sounds to me like you were out there hustling in Nashville, like right away. Yeah, like
I've been here almost 20 years, so there's been a time. There were some gaps, perhaps. But anyway, he had a budget, and he wanted me to put together ringers for his like 4-song. It was just a demo record, but he wanted it to be done well.
This is country genre?
And, yeah, it was pop country, but country. Cool. Yeah. That particular guy moved here because he knew Garth Brooks personally. So Garth opened a bunch of doors for him on Music Row. So he had some like heat right when he came to town. And more importantly, a budget. And so I made some calls, and I was just like, well, we're going to have a keyboard player. I'll just use this as an excuse. So I sent an email through Tim's website. Hey, man, got this, could you come and play on these songs? This is what we've got for you. He's like, sure. He came over.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he just came over to my buddy's studio one night. That was the night I met him. And the night I met him, dude, I've had this experience like very few times in my life, where I just know so clearly that I'm going to work with this person in like some meaningful way. And I could tell he didn't know that, but I was just like, I had like made my little CD of songs, like burned CD like you used to do.
Oh yeah.
And before he left, he finished recording. It was fun for everybody. And he was just a weird guy, but in a fun and interesting and kind of hold on by the seat of your pants sort of way. Like I remember he brought over a Nord. These Nords, for those not in the know, it's just like a keyboard that is industry standards, you could say. It's got a lot of options, got some great sounds. But it's got like a virtual version of like drawbars like an organ would have. So instead of the actual bars that you might pull in and out on an organ, you just like use a button to do it. And then the lights register the LEDs to tell you how far in and out those drawbars are. But I just remember he made a pass on a song, and he was just like, okay, go and just push the buttons. I'm like, push the drawbar buttons? He's like, yeah. And he's like, well, which one? He's just like, just push them all. Just like push them a bunch of times. Just like make it all go up and down, and I'll just keep playing. I was like standing over there like, and it was just like, oh, cool. That's this guy. There's no rules to making music with this guy, which is what I'm looking for. Yeah. And so that was the beginning of a really great relationship that continues to this day. And we made that record together. And this is maybe worth talking about for like young people thinking about how to move forward in an industry when you have just like no money. Because at that time I was absolutely broke, and had been, and there was no borrowing money from parents or anything. I was just like, I had a valet job that was like covering my bills, and that's about it. And then maybe that guitar gig there was nothing much better. There was nothing much more than that. So how do you like get things going when you don't have any money? That's pretty tough. I made It All Takes Forever. I'd like had that little positive experience with Tim, gave him my CD. He actually called me back, and he said, he had written down on an envelope his feelings about each song, like kind of while he was driving, like jotted down notes. But he took the time to do that, and he called me back and he's like, "This one song is great. This is a really great song, and I just want you to feel encouraged." That's all it was. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I got the guts up a little bit later. I had like $500, and I had this song that I was just like, this song is. I still believe in this song with everything in me. I was just like, this song is just a total timeless hit if it could just find its way. And it's this little ukulele song I wrote called My Little Life. And I still play it. Well, I haven't done it in a minute, but there was a time where I played it last at every single show I played, no matter what. And I was just like, I usually would play it like step out in front of the microphones in the room and just this little ukulele. And it's about like feeling okay with where you're at in life. And anyway, I was like, I played him just like the little work tape or sent it over to him. And I'm just like, I got this money. Maybe we could just make this track in one day and just see. He's like, yeah, cool. So about half a day we took making it. And it was just like, you've worked with him, so you know how it's so fun. It's so fun and it's fast. I've never met, he ruined other producers for me in a way because I've never before or since worked with anybody as fast as him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I felt my thing with Tim. It was interesting because we did one of my EPs together, and then we've worked on so many of just projects that he and I worked together. I have a band called the band Willa, and he and I have done stuff like that. He was actually doing the music for the television show Nashville for seasons 5 and 6, and that's when I started writing songs for that show. Around when season 5 came on. So he and I started working with the show the same time he did. But I didn't know that. From the outside looking in, I was like, oh, he's been with the show. But he had just started working with it. And I had never done like any sort of session work. But I was writing songs for the show. And kind of the same thing you were talking about where he's just puts a lot of thought into stuff and just like, let's just get it done and also keep the vibe. For a couple of the songs, he called me up. And he's like, hey, can you come in the studio and play the guitar for the track for the show? Because like, they just wanted to be like, they wanted a player worse than the session players. He's like, these session players can't play it as badly.
You can't fake bad.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like you're not bad, obviously.
Tastefully bad.
Yeah, you're tastefully bad.
But
you're real.
Yeah.
You're quote real.
But for me, my memory of Tim was like such appreciation because I had never worked in real sessions. He pulled me in for these Nashville sessions. I was getting session rate to maybe sing a harmony or play guitar on a song that was going to be on the show. And that was really big for me, just being like, oh, thanks, Tim, and that was cool. And then from there we worked on an EP and I literally was texting with him yesterday. He's actually small side note. My wife, Mackenzie is, I think it's okay to say, she's working on the new TV show 911 Nashville. They're filming here in town. And Tim texted me yesterday. He's working on the music for that show. He's always, the man's always sneaking in.
He's a sneaker. And also he's sort of a chameleon in the best sense of the word. And without just like, we can button up maybe our Tim homage chapter.
We need to tag
Tim is now in this podcast.
Yes.
But I mean, like, for a guy, like when I first met him, he was just starting to get into the film TV sync licensing game. And that's how I got into that game. Was he had a deal with a company called Secret Road. He still does. Yep. And I have a deal with Secret Road now.
I work with Secret Road.
Yeah, there you go. And so that was all because of him. But my point is that like he's sort of like moved from being like the guy who goes and plays keys on other people's stuff to sort of the guy that orchestrates the general vibe of the music, capital M music for a whole television show. Yeah, which is a pretty different kind of set of skills and kind of a testament to his deep pocket of talents. Yeah, we'll go with that. But that's a nice segue to this because we're going to get back to the music, but I do want to talk about the acting side of what you do too, because you've had some success, and it was right around that time because you were on the last season of Nashville. Yeah, you were like a character with a name.
I was a character with a name, baby.
Yeah, you'd freshly returned from war.
That was quite wild because I tried to do. Acting was a thing for me in South Carolina. And And then I moved to town, and I tried to hang on to do some acting when I first came to town, but I quickly decided, because it took me a long time to drum up anything in town, music-wise or whatever. So I didn't really have any acting leads, so I kind of quit acting altogether. And so it had been like 10 years of no acting, and then I was writing songs for Nashville. And I guess I was meeting all the right people with the show, the producers, the writers. But I was in the headspace of writing songs. I wasn't in the headspace of getting on the show at all. And then they just randomly hit me up. I didn't have an agent or anything, and they wanted to get me out to LA to audition for this part. And I assumed like smiley guitar player. I was like, cool, like I'll be in an episode. And they were like, no, veteran with PTSD. And I was like, oh, holy smokes. So it was for me, I remember before I went to LA, and almost every night before shoot, I would look to Mackenzie, just fear. I'd say, I'm not the guy. Like it was legitimate. Like I knew I was going to show up. I knew I was going to do it. Yeah. But I think there was like 40% of me that was like thinking, how could I not? Like, maybe I'll be sick tomorrow. Yeah. I was legitimately fear. And I still kind of get that way with acting. But Nashville was crazy because just kind of got thrown in the mix.
I think that that makes sense. And I think I remember you telling me about that audition when you were in LA and how scared you were and how out of your depth you felt like you were. Because it wasn't just like you said, it wasn't like smiley guitar guy. It was like some serious heavy lifting. Well,
it was like, because I forgot there's a movie. It was like an 80s film they told me to watch. And it was, I think in the film, the guy had PTSD. Sorry, I can't remember the name, but it was a really heavy movie. And they hadn't given me a script or anything, but that was the thing they told me to watch. And I had watched it. And I was like, whoa, this is quite intense. And then they sent me the sides, and I went to LA, and it was me and Ed Zwick, who's directed movies I love, like Legends of the Fall and The Last Samurai, and just countless movies. And I was like, okay, so here's Ed, and then Marshall, who was show running, and then Callie Korby.
Kelly Korby.
Yes, creator of the show. And so those were my people. It was a small room. I was reading with Callie, I believe, and I had just met them. So it was really intense for me.
Yeah, that would be intense for anybody.
Yeah, I was scared.
Yeah, totally.
I was pooping my pants.
No, I mean, you said though too. You said you still kind of get scared acting, and
dude, my teeth chatter, and literally before I go on, I do facial things to make my cheeks tired, so they can't chatter anymore. I literally tire the muscles of my face so they won't chatter.
Let me put this to you and just gauge your response. Because I, dabble or I pursue. I don't dabble.
I think you stir the pot, baby.
Man, I'm in there. I'm taking my licks. I just, I've been pinned a couple of times for 911. I was in Montana last weekend, and my agent called me. She's like, "Can you be on a plane tomorrow?"
Yeah, baby.
And, I was like, "Yeah, of course." I'm super irritated.
Like I'll run fast if I need to. Yeah.
But anyway, no, I like it. It isn't the real point. And even though I do not like seeing myself on camera or hearing my own voice or any of those things, I don't like the mirror part of it, the part that shows you what you did. I just like the being in it and trying. And mostly I just like the feeling of that experience of acting. And okay, so I get terrified when I act.
You do?
Not always, but if it's any kind of acting, I get less terrified than I used to, but I haven't done anything that was really heavy in a minute. But even then, like I was doing scenes when we were together in the fourth wall. That was like the heyday of terror because, and time again, and I think this is my speculation is that, and this is why I wanted to do it and why I still do enjoy doing it. Having been in music for a long time, everybody does it maybe a different way, but for me, it's like I write a song, co-write a song, I learn the words. The song exists prior to its performance as a form that I don't have to like reinvent the song in front of people. Like I've never been great at improvising. I'm not too proud to try, but people have yet to pay me money to do it, and nor do I think that's a very strong suit of me. But I do like to sit and really work hard at crafting something.
Yeah.
In the privacy of my own mind or home, and then the curtains part and the work is revealed. But acting is so much more about presence and response. Like if you're really doing it at all, you're interacting with somebody else, and you can't interact with somebody else without being present with them. And being present with somebody else who's another person is like not controlling the situation. And that is like, to me, that's what's the exhilaration of it and the terror of it at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, going back, you're talking the fourth wall, the acting studio we did together. Like, I felt like that was just as nerve-wracking as working on set.
Yeah.
If not almost as much. I feel like just working in front of anybody.
Yeah. In front of people, it's your colleagues too, like at the studios. And that's terrible. I like when you're booked for a show, in a way, it's like it's fine. Like everyone on set is rooting for you.
They wanted you. They picked you. That was always the calling card that I always have to, well, they picked me.
Yeah.
They hired me.
Yeah, totally.
Like, somebody
on
liked
them.
Somebody, yeah.
This is what you get.
Their fault. I'll tell you that, like, when I audition, I felt like, because Mac and I'll tape auditions at the house, and I used to get really hyper worked up for my auditions. I get angry. I do poorly, and I'd be like, I'm terrible, whatever. I don't do that anymore because my headspace now, this is almost like a pessimistic headspace, but it helps me do better, is that I'm only so good, and they either like me or they don't. And also, if this audition is too good, when I get on set, I won't be able to deliver with this, like, I've done it 30 times, and I'm using the 30th take. So I'll just do it, like, 3 times, and usually I use the first one because I'm like, that's what I got. That's what I am. And if they hire me, then that's what I'll be able to deliver.
Yeah. You don't want to give them the A+ because who knows if you can pull out the A+.
No, baby, I'm C- on the day at best. Yeah.
No, I had a really interesting experience with all of that, with the auditions. And there's a casting director here in the Southeast, Erica Arvold. Maybe you've
heard of her.
Read for her before. You'll get there, kid. But she had a class that she did in Atlanta for auditioning that she did. And I paid the money to be in the class. It was like a 10-week class, mostly because I just wanted FaceTime for this like kind of known casting director in the Southeast. And that was maybe not a bad idea because I've gotten several auditions over the years from her. And she, I was right there with her for 10 weeks. So once a week I'd drive down for it. Anyway, okay. Yeah. So she had this exercise at the beginning of it. It was called prep. It was called Prep 8. Prep 8. Prep 8.
I think that's the wrong thing, brother.
Jared, just cut out all that about the hormone medicine,
about the creams,
hemorrhoid medicines.
The creams. Hey, but hemorrhoid medicine, nothing wrong with it. I think it, under your eyes, eye patches is good. Anyways, go on.
So I went down there like once a week, and she had the deal where you got the sides for the class. Everybody got the same exact sides. It was like a doctor that kind of could be male or female or whatever, and you taped an audition, and then you went through the class, and then you re-auditioned the same exact side 10 weeks later with all the new information that you had. Did I turn in anything that was memorably different? No, I did not. I don't know if I learned anything. I don't know if I'm a teachable actor. I don't know anything about any of that. Maybe I'm better than I think, or maybe I'm much worse than I think. Anything is possible. So at the end of the last day of class, we have all turned in the tapes. There's 15 students, so only 15 tapes. She's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't normally do this, but there's not too many of you here. So would you like me to just like cast this right now if I were just like to be casting this part?
And would you guys watch each other's tapes, or just she watched
just
them?
This day, the only time it happened. No, it was right in front of everybody. Like she's sitting there in the front of class. There's a big screen TV.
Oh, gnarly.
And the tapes that you sent, or the links or whatever it was that you sent her, she's got them all in the file, just like she would. She's running Actors Access. And we're like, yeah. And I learned that was worth the whole course.
Yeah.
I learned so much that literally took her probably 8 minutes to go through everybody's and cast it.
How long would she watch
This is the thing. It's changed. Like why I'm mentioning this is because what you just brought up about how it's changed your mentality. I always thought, beforehand, just like memorize the crap out of it. Make sure that I don't flub any words. Make my version of a perfect quote unquote performance to turn in. Now, it's all vibe. It's all look, vibe, and it's basically those two things. It does not matter at all if you kill the dialogue, if you nail the dialogue, you want it. So, but it was so brutal, dude. She'd watch like 3 seconds of somebody's next done in the dump burn pile.
Well, it's just, it's freeing because you just are what you are and you tape and it's just like, they like you or they don't.
Yeah. Well, and in that person's case it was just like, it was a doctor. And so she was like, I'm going to really cast this. So the 19-year-old, doesn't really have a shot. It wasn't a perfect situation, but there was a lot of people that could have played it. But it was interesting. So she would watch some people's, she would watch for like 7 seconds, and then she would just flip to a minute later in the audition, watch a little bit more. And never did she watch the whole audition. And I was like, oh, that was so helpful to just know that it's just to your point. Like, this is what you get. That's what they're looking for. They kind of want, I sort of know what I am cast for. Like I kind of, not always, like sometimes I get sides and I'm like, I'm never going to be this guy, and I've gotten it. And that's weird. That's on them. But yeah, it's like, it's just energy and look. And I don't know. It's really helpful to me.
I'm actually getting inspired by this.
I know exactly.
Like truly, it makes me feel better almost.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. That's the thing. I feel like that about it. As I get older in everything I do, I'm like, the answer is always don't worry about it. Is this song good enough? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Am I a good artist? Don't worry about it. No. Yes.
Yeah.
Who cares? Don't worry about it. Do you want to make art? Then do it.
I think we have I think that's smart because I feel in general, a lot of artists, writers, actors have the tendency to overthink or to worry too much. Because obviously a little worry is going to be good. We're going to have that naturally. But nothing that I've ever done that had any sort of like quote unquote success was ever around anything meticulously done, ever, that I can think of. Never did I sit down in a room and I'm like, okay, this is going to be the thing. And then it was. It was always an afterthought or a second song of the day or a BS recording or a bad audition. Those have always been the things that pay out.
That tossed off energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I wonder, I think about that a bit with regard, not to just dwell on the acting side of it, but since we're talking about it, I do book a bit and I'm always surprised by that. And I'm not like saying I'm anything special, but it's like, well, somebody's paying me for this. So there's something there. And whereas like my folk career has just been like tooth and nail, clenched fists, just like, I'm going to get through this. And like I really wanted it. And I think that I've learned something from the acting side of it because I don't care. Like I don't care about I do care about the craft. I want to deliver a good performance, but I don't need you to pick me to feel validated in the same way. It's different with writing and music for me. I sort of do need that validation. I notice.
And why do you think that is? You think you're just more connected to the music than the acting?
Well, I think that part of it's, I'm a different kind of person. I think that capital A actors, like people who I think of as just like really talented actors, and is like what they do also. I think that they feel about their craft like I feel about, I'll just say writing. Like I really identify as a writer in my mind, and I care about it so much that, and I just want, I don't know, now that you're saying it, I'm like, well, why can't, well, my bigger point was that like going through this with the acting has rubbed off in the other things a little bit more. I'm sure I have a long ways to go. But at the same time, I think I think there's something different about acting than writing, because music is also writing. I put those in the same, because you're generating something out of nothing with writing, so that's coming out of you.
Yeah, there's a personal thing there.
But I know lots of people, especially like in the country world. I would say Tim is one of these people we were talking about, who don't self-identify with whatever particular music thing they're doing. It is kind of a job.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit once removed from it in a way that I've never really been able to be. Like we were talking about sync licensing and stuff. I played that game especially early on in like 2012 and 13 when we made that record with Tim, and then a little bit after that. But I found that I saw the other people that were playing the same game and who were winning, and they were playing a different game than me. They were basically playing a writer's room, a row rider game, except the sync version of it. So they were just like creating a ton of tracks to answer specs, it's not specs. I can't remember what the prompts. Briefs. Yeah. Briefs. Yeah. And they weren't really super attached to the craft of it. They were just trying to like, not tick the box, but like line up the metric, like get it, answer,
form fit to the program of what you needed. Yeah.
And I like I've gotten a few syncs, and the money was nice, but it meant nothing to me,
Right.
And I think this is sort of stupid of me, honestly, but I think that it would be good for me to have money mean more to me. I think I probably have more of it.
Well, it's like on the opposite side of that, I remember that show, The OC.
Yeah.
When was that?
That broke so many. I mean, that was kind of like the front side of the sync world
also,
and all the
like,
singer-songwriter games.
That show like had cool music. There was the band Rooney, like I really liked back then. And Phantom Planet had that song California. Basically it was like cool TV film music. So I was like jamming to those songs. So like I came to like enjoy those songs. So when I came to town and when I started doing TV film, because I don't think I've landed license on TV from a brief once, I don't think. I've gotten a lot of TV film, but it's always just been about like maybe following general vibe. And basically it's just me falling back on those songs that I enjoyed, like maybe slightly emo singer-songwriter acoustic vibes, But yeah, I'm with you. I think with the TV film, it's just like almost separation of church and state. Like I have this flagship that is like, I care about so much. I cuss. Maybe I'll talk about Ninja Turtles and weed. Yeah. And that's not going to get placed. Yeah. But then maybe I'll have like a couple other projects that are,
Yeah, you have your artist songs and your sync songs, sort of.
Well, because sometimes writing artist songs every day can be exhausting. Hard. Yeah, it is hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I think that you brought a guitar. Maybe do you want to play one live?
Let's do it.
Tell me what you're going to play. Maybe you could set it up a little bit.
I will play a song called Raked Flat. I wrote it with Donovan Woods.
Oh, love that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. It was actually we normally write at a publisher or something, but this time we wrote at my house. And I just had like this first couple lines to a verse. My grandmom, the house next door was always abandoned, like my whole childhood. And then eventually it got tore down, and now there's a garden there. And I was telling Donovan about that. And then there's this movie called Ghost Story with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. Is that? Yeah. And I showed him like the trailer to that movie. So these were like the two setups. I was like, hey man, check this out. And then I played him the first couple lines. And I don't know, Donovan and I, like I mentioned to you, we've written songs together that we love. But I'm always nervous when we write because I want us to like be able to write another one that we love. And we wrote this one and loved it. And he wound up recording it. Or we tracked it that day just pretty offhand in the room. And he wound up tracking to that and just released it. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this version.
Thanks, brother.
Let it rip.
Chalk it up to life's ambition, trying to be all gasoline and piston. But there's a field out back where there used to be a kitchen. Now it's all raked flat. Is it common sense or is it just tradition? All these road maps to glad rags, modern day fiction. There's a ghost of a man steady walking and tripping. I think he thought like that. Now it's all raked flat. she said something to him in the hallway that he thought about over and over, almost every day, until it felt so big it changed his whole life's trajectory. But now the house is gone, finding new lines in her bathroom mirror, and she hates them all. But in 15 years, there's a car parked right where she cried all those tears on a concrete slab. Now it's all raked flat. Chalk it up to wishful thinking, sitting comfortably in a brand new building while imperceptibly the glass is dripping. Well, it'll all go back until it's all raked flat.
Man, that was fantastic. And
Thanks,
one of the things that I really love about this series that we do here is how transparent it is. And I will always love kind of nothing more than a great song sung beautifully and played at the same time in a room where you can hear all the space.
There's vibey in here too, which helps.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. But I think it's good to know your lodestone, your guiding star, your North Star, and whether or not that's genre or artist, or I've just been thinking about this with what you kind of were talking about with the film and TV versus artist songs. And then when you were playing that song, I was thinking about Donovan and how much I like his music. Like,
Me too.
I probably like it too much. I mentioned that to you.
I don't think you like it. I mean, you can't.
I just like it a lot, like it's like there's a few artists where I'm like, man, I don't know what it is, but like him, the Weepies.
Oh yeah,
those are two I can think of where I'm just like anything. And then there are like a couple like Todd Snyder. I really like for sort of a different way, but it's like those things are clues to your own, not you, Jake, but you, Korby. I'll speak to myself. My own like generation of art. My own generation like creation of art. I noticed that like I think that if you sway too far from the thing that got you excited about it in the first place, maybe you're not on the right track. And this is right when you were talking about loving the OC songs when those were coming out, and you're just like, well, I kind of make my version of the OC songs. And it's like like you can't in some ways. I don't think you can choose what you like.
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you just like what you like. And liking what you like is a really powerful, it's such a gift. Like a lot of people don't know what they like. So if you like something, then go after that thing and, in some sense or fashion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, mostly I just wanted to talk about liking Donovan.
Well, I think the way Donovan sings too, I mean, his songs obviously, but then you can just hear him in the songs. Like when he sings, like I choose to believe that every word is true, but because sounds like it is.
He's an artist. Yeah, exactly. And he's definitely, it all kind of hovers around the same thing in the best way. I mean this like as a sort of a criticism, a clue to myself that I've never been able to honor. I think that when I was first having industry meetings in town and I was making all these records, I just wanted to make, when I would go to shows, we get bored if there's too many of the songs that are the same. Yeah. And I feel like that's so many artists do that. And I didn't want to be one of those artists. So I wanted like an up-tempo one, a really quiet one, a big loud one, maybe one that was a little guitar-y. And so my albums reflected that. And people would often say in the industry, and they're trying to figure out where to put you because that's what is helpful to them. They'd just be like, I don't know really where to put you. And Tim was kind of the first person to be like, dude, fly your freak flag. You want to make a Prince song? Let's do it. And like that record we made has all of that stuff in it. And I love that record. But anyway, Donovan is like, it kind of hovers around like a mid-register, like really soft singing.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so great because you sort of know when a Donovan Woods record comes out, like what it's going to be. And
but all of a sudden
it delivers on the promise.
You mentioned Prince, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing Donovan like, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Wait, is that right, Prince? Be my girl.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
I can. Donovan could sing that.
No,
too.
he totally, absolutely.
But
could.
no, I know exactly what you're saying. What I will say, right or wrong, I don't know. But my opinion is nowadays I think it matters less about being like a package deal of like I do this, because with the algorithm, if you release a Prince-ish tune and people vibe on it, they're gonna be like, sweet, love that. And then if you release like Mortician's Morgue, like, and like people are vibing, I think they're still gonna like, I think nowadays it's like kind of these like little like calling cards instead. I mean, people listen to records. I don't know. I only know like one or two people, but people do. But for the most part, I think people just listen to songs.
Yeah.
So now you can just,
I kind of listen to records, but I think I'm an outlier and I still only kind of do.
I think I
mostly
listen to
just
records to
songs.
work. I think I'll like do it almost as a work ethic thing. Like, what is this? What are they doing? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Agreed. I just want to push back on that a little bit because
Please.
I think that you're right. I think it is a singles game, but I think also in terms of if people vibe on it at the very beginning of you putting something out, the algorithm only knows to send it to the thing that it identifies you in advance. So if like I were to come out with like Hungarian death metal track, it would first go out to all of my folk people who immediately skip it.
Okay, you're
so
totally
you might
right.
find a way through, but like I think that probably for Happy Ever After You, Mackenzie's fans are going to be receptive to a song like
You're
that,
right.
and that's going to give it like that initial. I don't want to shit on your theory.
No,
too hard,
'cause
I think you're basically right.
You're actually totally correct. I'll use myself as an example that I forgot about. I released a song which I think is rowdy called Rats on Wheels.
It sounds rowdy.
Yeah, and I had this animation that was like almost like that Tool video from the 90s.
Oh
like
yeah, I
pretty
love that.
dark.
Everybody knows that video.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I actually have taken it down since then because I put it out and it went out to all my fans who love like my acoustic stuff, and I think they were just like, no, and
you freaked him out.
Yeah, it just went went to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah,
and then I think Spotify was told via my fans this song is terrible, and so then so actually, you're right. My own stuff has proven that.
Yeah, it's weird because you do want to present that variety show, the metaphorical variety show in your music. You don't want to be so predictable that people already know what the song's going to be about in advance because they saw your name, which definitely is some artists, and I think actually is a formula for success in some ways, but it's not a formula for art.
Right.
And somehow a guy like Donovan Woods he succeeds in the one without falling prey to the other. It's still unpredictable. And at the end of the day, I noticed, if I were to say like the commonality between a band like the Weepies and Donovan Woods is like really like heart-centered, kind of like might make you cry music. If you see it live, probably will make you cry music. And I'm like, that's what I love.
Well, that World Spins Madly on. Woke up.
Yeah, that's
was it woke up and wish that I was dead?
Yeah.
With
waking in my head,
lay motionless in bed.
Everyone knows that.
And then
song.
my favorite, and thought of you, and where you'd gone, and the world spins madly.
Oh. Yeah. Incidentally, one of my favorite artists in town and good friend Liz Longley, she's a huge Weepies fan too. Yeah. And for whatever reason, we were talking a couple of months ago. All this to say, like tomorrow, she's coming over here and we're tracking that song with her singing the guy's part, Steve's part, and I'm singing the harmonies to make it just a little different. But it's just for no real reason other than we just totally love that song. But the album that song is on is called Say I Am You. And I just am like, it's like one of those songs. It's like Neil Young Harvest for me. It's just like every single track just is like a punch me in the face song. And it's just, it's about the craft. It's like the words are so kind of clever, but they're like, oh, whatever that is. I mean, I don't know.
I remember folding silverware at a restaurant job, listening to that record.
Oh, yeah.
I have a specific memory, which it's like everybody's like, cool, man. But for me, it's like I have a memory of listening to that full record through, folding silverware on a Friday night. And it's
one of the things that amazes me about music. I thought that this would go away. Like it's obvious to me, like, songs that you were listening to in high school, if you hear them, they take you back to your childhood, those high school years, because everything was so fraught and emotional, and you're so sensitive and confused, and everything had so much meaning and all of that stuff. What surprises me is that it never stops. Like, I will get into a record and for a really short amount of time, and then a year or 2 or 3 years will pass, and I'll hear the song and I'll think of exactly where I was the first time I heard that song. Or there'll be a time in my life, and it's a picture usually of what that song represents, like where I was.
Yeah.
Like, there's a Weepies record that came out in 2015 called River in the Sky. And that to me is jogging at night. Like, that's when I started like running a lot, and I would just like put that record on, hit a bowl, and just run for an hour and change.
Baby.
And I just like, and then I listened to it twice through. And it's like every time I hear a track on that song, I'm like, oh yeah.
There's that song Candy by Paolo Nutini. It's a really lovely song, but I have a specific memory, which I won't talk about now, but
Old Girlfriend, is that?
Old Girlfriend. Yeah.
So how has being a creative type changed since you've, speaking of current girls, had a current girl with your current girl?
Yeah, baby girl.
You're a dad. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'm a dad. I think it's become more intentional, and for that, maybe I won't say better, but I think it's just like there's less time. We talked about the worry. There's less time for that.
Yeah,
there's more time for action. I think it's just like,
well, there's like less time for action, so something has to go, and it can't be the action because there's not enough time, so it's got to be the worry.
Well, it's just like even like going back to the Happy Ever After You and songs we've written for this record, for the Thelma and James record. Like, of course, we have write days and co-writes, and Mackenzie and I writing, and in a way they are like the old days, like before we had a daughter. But in other ways, it's like, okay, it's time we got to get back home.
You have a heart out.
Yeah, a heart out. And then once you're out, that you're doing some family time. And I think it's good. Because it just helps you to make choices and just do the thing. And I think it harkens back to, we were talking about even with acting. It's just kind of it is or it isn't. I think obviously you can fine tune everything to make it into something really amazing. I don't think that's just my specialty. I think kind of I am what I am. And I think it just kind of helps out with that, because you write a song and you're like, oh, I like this. And you're like, okay, well, let's record it. And it's like, okay, we did it. Do we have another day to go back and do vocals? Like, well, we could, but it's just harder to do.
Do we need to? Yeah.
Do we need to? Yeah. And kind of on the same thing, what you're saying, I think more and more we went through like the auto-tune era. And we're still kind of in it. Everybody wants to be really perfect pitch, but I think too, like this idea of just recording, keeping things as genuine as possible is becoming more wanted. That's kind of what I want.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's funny, even recording this record with Bowen in the house, like, cause we'll record some stuff at the house. There are a couple songs on this record that we're working on now that the guitars were just tracked day of at the house. And then we did the rest of the track around it. But you can hear some screaming in the halls if you isolated some tracks. So that's affected the creative process for sure. Extra noise.
Yeah, I think it's for the better. Some of that organic zhuzh.
Ain't gonna hurt nothing, baby.
Yeah,
ain't gonna hurt nothing.
To your note about like quote unquote flaws in art and music, and maybe changing tastes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, that part of the reason why, again, like the live thing here, is that it is what it is. And like, people are exhausted with all of it, all the airbrushed things. I think that one of the things about AI that I have a gut feeling on this, I could be wrong, but in my feed, I do deal with it every day in some small way. or not super small. But one thing I don't do is like generate things that are important to me straight out of AI. But I noticed that my Instagram feed thinks that I'm really into it. And so it sends me a ton of stuff, all of which is like kind of interesting to me and incredibly powerful and also overwhelming. And like specifically the visual stuff, like with what AI can do, with the prompts, and you can make it, the girl move and she looks just like, whatever kind of girl you want, and doing whatever you want and whatever time of day on whatever background. And I think with all of those whatever you wants is a complete vacuum of meaning. And I think that the thing that's at a priority today, maybe as it ever has been, but I think more so today, precisely because you can just manicure everything, is meaning. And I feel like that in some ways, in a basic way, I personally am in the meaning business, and the various vehicles I pursue that through are just what they are. But the overarching thing is like, how do I find meaning for my own life through these efforts? And by proxy, how do I encourage other people to pursue meaning in their own lives, perhaps through these things that I'm interested in? And so that's all to say that like, meaning doesn't matter. Accuracy is not important to meaning. There's a relationship there. But for instance, I was telling you when the mics were off, Mayer and I, this amazing artist, Mayer, that I'm fortunate to know. She's out with Molly Tuttle right now in her like all-star band. She's like a wonder-kind bluegrass player and plays everything. And is also an amazing singer and songwriter. And she's going to be like a huge, she already is a huge talent, but she's going to be like a significant meteor in the sky, I feel like. Anyway, I don't know. I tricked her into playing with me a little bit. And she came over. She likes this song that we just put out called This Love, which I wrote about Randa. Personal meaning, I wrote a song for personal meaning for me, recorded it, and it's having a little bit of a life here. And so Mayer liked that song. She came over here, we tracked it. I told you this like 3 times and we're done. And it's great. I will say candidly, I was sitting there. There's a part in the bridge where it's like there's kind of this constant hit on the 2. So it's like, Jan, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, Jan, and then the chords change, but they're still shifting on the 2. And I was just like, this is the thing. This is like the limits of my talent or something like that. But like I was on the first take, I was just like enjoying Mayer's playing, and I was just like kind of lose it a little bit because I was listening too much. And I'm like, you gotta hold it down.
Gotta hold it down, baby.
This is all on you. She's like playing on top of you. And so in that section, I'm like on the 2, and there's like an extra beat twice. There's like 2 bars of 5 in the bridge. It's not perfect. And then the other thing is that there's like a little a rise in this like one line going into the second chorus where I'm like, if this were a studio track, I would definitely retrack that vocal, or I would knock it into shape with an auto tune. But it can't be done because there's too much mic bleed. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to put this song out with this kind of much higher profile artist, and it's going to be a little bit flawed. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I have the studio. If you want to hear it perfect, go listen to the studio one.
Yeah.
This is about music in a room being played by human beings. And I like where I'm going at directionally is just like more of that.
Yeah.
I want more.
Well, it's just
real.
genuine, anything authentic. I mean, like you say, AI specifically, like we have perfect, and we can make perfect. Perfect is easier than
Perfect's easy now
than authenticity.
Yeah.
Hey, good on us. It's sometimes
Thankfully, we're really flawed.
Yeah,
There's plenty of imperfect to go around here.
Exactly.
Well, so what's next for Thelma and James? And that's the main project right now.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. We are, there's 2025, maybe there's some cool things around the corner that maybe I can't talk about quite yet, but I think
NDAs were signed.
2025, I think will be cool. Or we're in 2025. 2026 will be maybe some cool stuff. And we are just working on our record. We got an EP that'll be coming out this year. And just really excited about the songs. We just wrapped up the EP. We were in the studio pretty hardcore for that. And we're just writing a lot still.
So you have another record coming on the heels of the EP?
Well, we're not sure. It could be that the record is just a continuation of the EP. It's all just like on a process to just try to get the music out there.
Yeah.
But we're really excited. It was just funny, like, because Mac and I hadn't written together in like 10 years. And then we're writing and doing a lot of co-writing with other people. And it's just been really fun. And we've written some like songs we're really, really proud of. But yeah, it's been, our pants have been on fire. Like we've been running around just mostly just because writing and tracking. And the tracking process was like, it was kind of our thing. It was nice. It was me and Mac and our buddy Lewis Johnson, who goes by Lonus. And of course, we worked in other spaces sometimes and brought in players, but a lot of times it was just the three of us working on the record, which isn't like typical, I guess, in town. So yeah, we've been so crazy with that we're just right now, just a little bit of breathing room to plan for like what's coming up.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad I caught you in the spell.
Yeah, man.
In the pause.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you, Jake. I mean, you're such a talented guy and you have been for so long.
Hey,
and
you too, brother.
You're also just like a positive person, and that is a not as typical combination as you might hope it would be. So,
hey, I say the same about you though. Yeah.
Well, you're not around me all the time. Talk to Randa. She'll tell you the real story. Dude, I wish you the best. Let's do this again soon.
Thanks for having me, man.
Peace.
Peace. The Morse Code Podcast is produced by Korby, Lenker, and Jared Hammond in East Nashville, Tennessee. Our executive producer is Randa Newman. You can find full videos for this and all previous episodes at morsecodepodcast.com.